All right, good afternoon, or maybe it's morning where you are. Anyways, it's time to do some Photoshop. What's up, everybody? It's week 10, day 3. My name is Mr. Brown, and I am teaching you Photoshop and Principles of Arts, AV, Tech, and Communications. And so, what we're going to be talking about today is how to do a very kind of more complex composite of photographs. And so, let's head on over to our computer, and I'm going to show you guys a few different images that I have downloaded. We're going to start off with this shoe. We're going to use a little bit of space, and we're going to throw the planet Earth on here. What does this have to do with anything? Well, I will tell you. We're actually going to be creating an advertisement for a new shoe company. They are the Victory Goddesses, and the name of their new shoe is the Space Gordon. So we get to make the very first advertisement for the Space Gordon in Photoshop, and we're going to be using these assets that I gave you to create it, and I'm going to walk you through that process so that you can see how to add several different photos together, cut out what you don't need, add a text layer, and format it for advertising on Facebook. Let's get started. Let's jump on over into back to our computer, and what we're going to do first is we need to start, and we're going to do something slightly different today. In the past, what I have been doing is having you open, but today we're actually going to go to create new, or if you're here and you don't have this, go to file and new, and it will do the exact same thing. It'll get us to the same exact screen. So what we've got here is our different settings up at the top. And we're all going to go over to, don't ask me why we're doing this, but it's just what we're going to do. Well, you know what? We can just go to web. So we're going to go over to web, and mine has web large, and that's the size we're going to use. And over here, and you need to make sure that it says 1920, 1080 pixels, not inches. That's very, very important. 1920 pixels, 1080 pixels. The orientation should be landscape, which is the wide one. Resolution is 72. RGB, all that's probably okay. And the last thing we're going to do is change the name of our soon-to-be created ad. And we're going to call this Space Gordon, which is SPACEGORDON. But if you want to spell it a different way, I guess go for it, as long as it, mostly looks like Space Gordon. So then we're going to hit create. And what that's going to do is bring us up to a brand new blank canvas, which is what we want. We've got this brand new blank canvas over here. And what we're going to be doing in our brand new blank canvas is doing some dragging and dropping to get our assets in here. The very first thing, you should have downloaded these. They're available on Google Classroom for you to download. These 3 different images. We're going to start with space. And since we already have this open, we're going to go ahead and drag and drop space on top. And wait for it. Voila! There we go. Space is here. Now you're going to notice immediately that space does not fill up all of our canvas, and so that's a little bit of a problem. What we need to do is make sure we have our selection tool, which is the very top tool on the top left. Make sure that show transform controls up in the very top is clicked. It should be right next to layer. And we're going to need to just click, hold, and drag this larger. So here we go. I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to drag these anchor points to make this as big as I can possibly make it. And I want it to just fill up the canvas. And it looks like we have done that. So once you are sure that your space is filling up the canvas, and you can kind of reposition it, move it around however you like. I'm going to move mine to where it's a little bit more centered. I kind of like this blue over here. So I'm going to bring that over a little bit more. But once you're happy with it, you can come up and hit this check mark in the top, or just hit the enter key. Bam! All right, so we have placed our space layer. And I'm going to hit Command- to zoom out so I can see everything. All right, so that was pretty easy, placing space. If you're already lost, just back the video up, rewatch it. You should be good. The next thing we're going to need to do is add the planet Earth. The problem with the planet Earth is that the Earth is there, and we have that black space in the background. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the planet Earth, and then we're going to get rid of the black space behind it. There is a problem, however. The planet Earth is a smart layer. When we add it, Photoshop is going to add it as a smart layer. And what that means is Photoshop is preserving a lot of the details so that it can be edited non-destructively. And that's a little bit confusing, but I'm going to show you how we can work around that and preserve the data in case we need to go back and make any other changes. So I'm going to next come down to where I downloaded. You may need to go to Finder or you may need to go to Downloads, but mine's down here at the bottom right here. And I'm going to drag and drop my Earth right onto the top. And you can see, here we go, it's placed it. It's a pretty okay size, but like I said, we still have a problem with the black background, so we need to get rid of it. I'm gonna go ahead and either hit my check mark at the top or hit the return key on my Mac. And yeah, we're gonna have to do something with this black background. So what we wanna do is we want to be able to create a mask. Masks are a non-destructive way to hide portions of the image that we don't want to see. In my class, we've been using masks quite a bit. We've played with them a little. The crazy thing about a mask is that it just uses color, black or white, to kind of make something visible or hide it. And I'm just going to walk y'all through how to create that mask. So what we're going to do first is make a selection. So I'm going to come all the way up to my toolbars on the left. It's the second tool. It says the rectangular marquee tool, but I'm actually going to left click and hold, and it should bring up other tools. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to my elliptical marquee tool, and this usually takes me like some practice, but I'm going to try to get the whole Earth on there. And as you can see, I did not do it. So I'm going to hit Command D. I'm going to try again. We're going to try to get I didn't get it. Command D again. I'm almost going to get there. When we can get pretty close because we can clean it up later. I got close, but I didn't get it quite. I'm going to try it one more time. Just try to, oh, no, one more time. I'm feeling it now. No, didn't get it. Let me try it again. I can actually cheat and turn on the grid, and that might help me. Command apostrophe. No, that does not help me at all. I got to make sure I'm lining it up. Turn on the grid, and this should get it right here. I'm going to say that's pretty close. That's pretty close. We're going to go with it. So I'm going to turn my grid back off by hitting Command apostrophe again. And now that we have this selected, and make sure the correct layer is selected, I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and at the very bottom of my where my layers are, I'm going to click this rectangle with a circle inside of it, and that is going to create a layer mask. Again, make sure you're on the Earth layer, and I'm just going to click that mask, and it's gone away. And as you can see, I've messed up a little bit because I'm going to zoom in by hitting Command plus, and what I notice here, hold down my space bar to get my hand and move things around. I got a little bit of space in this. Okay, no need to worry. As long as, look back at your layers panel, as long as your highlighter rectangle is on the mask, which is the one on the right, you can see that it's black with a white circle. I'm going to come over back to the left-hand side, select my paintbrush, and make sure that it's black. I'm going to decrease my paintbrush size by pressing the left bracket key, and I'm just going to paint the color black. Now it doesn't show up as black, but it is painting on the mask, and it's making it, whatever is black on the mask is invisible. Now let's just say I get a little bit too excited and I'm like, I just took out half of the planet. That's not good. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to change my color to white. So white is in my color on my paintbrush, and I'm just going to repaint what I messed up on. And there you go. You can't even tell that I severely messed that up. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And I'm going to clean this up over here just a little bit. We've got some, I think it's atmospheric haze. I don't know. I'm going to clean it up some. Now, we used the elliptical marquee tool to make that selection. It doesn't matter how you actually make the selection. There are a lot of different ways you can make the selection. You can use the pen tool if you just feel like tracing the whole planet. You can use the quick select tool. You can use the object select. There's a lot of new ways now to make selections. As long as you get the planet Earth selected and then apply the mask, you're going to be in good shape. So let's zoom back out. I do want to move the planet Earth around. So I'm going to literally click on this left-hand little thumbnail on my layer. I'm going to come back up to the very top tool. It looks like a plus sign with arrows. I'm going to click that. That's our selection tool. And I'm going to make the planet Earth a little bit bigger by just dragging a corner. And I'm going to make it even bigger because I want it to look like, wow, the Earth is just all up in space right now. And I think that looks pretty good. When I'm happy with it, I'm going to hit my return key or the check mark up at the top. And that's looking all right. That's looking all right. There's one more element we have to add, and then we have to add a text layer to create this. So I'm going to come over back to where my file is, and it's all in my downloads folder. I click once, it opens up. Mine is set to fan, so you can see a lot of these are portions of past projects we've done. But I'm just going to click and hold this shoe and drop it on top. It's going to create a new layer in the process, and there's my shoe. And again, it's made this a smart object. So it's set up to preserve the pixels, to save every detail of the image so that it is not lost. This is called non-destructive editing, and the best way to learn to edit is non-destructively. Because once you start doing destructive edits, you kind of make messes really fast. This way is kind of like a fail-safe way. You can always go back and fix it later. So we're going to do the same exact thing we did before. I've got my shoe, and I'm going to just kind of leave it the size it is. I'm going to go ahead and hit my return key or the check mark at the top. And I've got the same problem I had. I need to select the shoe. So in the past, I've had you guys going in and using the pen tool. So you can use the pen tool and trace all around this shoe. So that's not a bad way to do it. So click the pen tool, click all the way around the shoe. I'm just going to trace it really quickly, not 100% accurate. Remember that we want to move these handles to go, so I'm going to hold the Option key down, change directions. For those of you who maybe are confused about the pen tool, let me back up and explain it a little bit more, because some people are still struggling with it. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo what I just did. With the pen tool, what we want to do, we want to trace around the entire object, and we want to complete a circle. That way it makes a really clean, nice selection. To do that, you can click, and if you click, hold, and drag, it will curve the line, which makes it really, really easy and really, really simple to get those nice matching curves. But there's a couple of little things we have to do to make sure that things work correctly, because the pen tool can be a tad bit quirky, so follow me. Here we go. I'm going to start here at the top, at the back of the heel, and I'm going to click once. That's my first point. Just click. And I'm going to come down to where there's kind of like a joint or a change in direction, and I'm going to click, and then I need to curve this, so I'm just going to hold, and I'm going to drag. And this is getting us pretty close to where we need to be. I'm going to go ahead and let go. And I've got these two handles. These handles help us with our curves. But if I click in the next place to keep working around the shoe, this handle is going to make the line curve this way. It's pointing in the direction that the line is going to curve. So I'm going to hold down the Option key and redirect, click and redirect where my line is going to go. So here we go. I'm just going to keep clicking my way around, come down to the bottom of the shoe. I've got a little bit of a curve right here, so I'm going to just click, hold, and drag that out. Get that close. I'm going to work my way around the entire shoe. Just add a little bit of a curve there. We're going to go up here. Going to click, hold, and drag. A little bit of a curve there. We're going to have to Option click and drag this around to where it's going in the direction we want it to. Then I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here and drag just a little bit. If you need to zoom in, absolutely feel free. Command plus gets us closer. If you get here and, oh my goodness, it looks like we've made a mistake in some places, I'm going to have to come back and fix that. And I'll show you guys how to do that if you do make a mistake. But we're going to hold down the Option key and just move this in the direction we want it to go. And we're just going to keep moving around the shoe. Right here, we're going to add a little bit of curve. Pro tip, I should have zoomed in on the shoe to begin with. I was trying to be lazy. And you see what that gets you. Do the job right the first time. Don't be like Mr. Brown. That's good advice. And now we're going to work our way up the shoe. I'm just going to curve it again to match. Just click, hold, and drag, and you get those curves. And now we're just going to work our way around. Oops, I forgot to adjust my handle. I'm going to pull this down. And here we go. We're just going to work our way around. Add a little bit of curve. Adjust my handle again to match where I'm going. We're going to click here, add a little bit of a curve. We're going to adjust our handle, hold down the Option key, mouse over, and then there we go. We're going to keep moving, add a little bit of a curve. We're just working our way around. It becomes kind of tedious, but we want to get the most accurate selection we can get on this. So I'm just going to try to get all this lace in one. There we go. And I'm going to have to Option and click and move that. And here we go again. Same thing, just working our way around. I sometimes feel like I'm Bob Ross when I'm just talking through this. I think I watched too much Bob Ross as a kid. You know, there's no happy little trees, but we've got happy little laces here, so that's close enough. Happy little laces, and now we're going to Option click again, move ourselves up here. We need to curve it a little bit for this shoe. I'll hold down the space bar so I can move it. Hold the space bar, click and drag, and I'm going to keep moving around the shoe as closely and detailed as you can. And guys, I am really not paying as much attention as I should. You should definitely pay more attention than I am. Definitely pay more attention. I'm going to have to hold the Option key, make adjustments. We're just going to work our way around this, see if we can get this going. I'm trying to work quickly. I know you guys have things to do, like finish this. All right, so when we get back to where we started, you want to go back to your original point, and you want to make sure that you click back to the original point, and that is going to connect this. You can see that I've goofed up a little bit here, so I'm going to hold down my Option key and just kind of corrected it. And I'm going to need to drag, holding Option down, drag this around to where it kind of fits. And this is not perfect, but hopefully you guys do a way better job than what I'm doing right now. When we get this all pinned out, the next thing we're going to do is actually make this a selection. So at the very top, with your pen tool still selected, right here, we're going to come up where it says Path, and then we're going to click Make Selection. And I'm not going to feather the radius. I'm going to turn that back to 0. Yours should already be 0, and I'm going to hit OK. And that gives us this selection. It looks pretty decent. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the bottom, and I'm going to click Add Layer Mask right there. And now my shoe is just floating in space exactly how it needs to be. I'm going to hit the Command- button to zoom back out, and I actually want to make this shoe ridiculously big. And so I'm just going to put the shoe right here, just floating in space, just like it is. If you want to give it a little bit of a tilt to show it off, you can do that. So that brings us to the text portion of what we need to do. So this is going to be an advertisement on social media. That's why we made it the size we made it. And we're using a lot of bright, goofy colors. And so the next thing we're going to do is just add our text layer. Here's the thing about the text layer. I'm giving you the text. It's printed in the instructions. You can use whatever font, whatever sizes, however you want to arrange it. Be creative, have fun with it. But remember, it's an advertisement, so it needs to be able to be something that's easily read and communicates well to the audience. So here we go. I was just adjusting this layer, and I do need to either hit my check mark or hit the return key on the keyboard to set it where it needs to go. The next thing I need to do is come over to my letter T for text tool. Remember, guys, that we do not click and drag for the text tool. We just click once. If you click once, it doesn't create a text box. If you click and drag, it does create a text box, and that limits the size of how much you can type. If you just click one time, you can type all you want to type, and then you can go back and change it, move it around, and do what you want. It's very less constricting, very much less constricting if you do it this way. So click once, and it's going to add part of a Latin nonsense poem called the Lorem Ipsum, which is what it's supposed to do. Up here at the top, there's a color square. There's a T with a curve underneath it. And then right next to that is it looks like a file folder. Just click it, and it's going to give us, our character panel pops up over here. And it's going to give us the ability to change the font. I have tons of fonts. This is my home computer. So I'm going to look for a really fun font that I have. You guys can scroll through your fonts on your computer, see what you got. Maybe you have something great. Maybe you have something not so great. We'll just see. Remember, readability is important on this. So I'm going to find something that is pretty readable. I really like this one, but I don't think it's going to be readable enough. So we're just going to come back up here, and I'm going to use something pretty standard. I think I'm going to use my old friend Helvetica. Hello, Helvetica. Oh, maybe Helvetica New. Helvetica New. Let's just go with Helvetica New. It's a boring font. We'll make it work, though. And so I'm going to change my very first text to say Space Gordons. And this is black, and we can't even see it. So let's change the font maybe to a color that matches the shoe. So this orange really pops down here. So with our color picker selected, again, if you didn't see what I did, with my text tool, I clicked and highlighted my text. I came up to the square at the top, or you can click this square here. They do the exact same thing. And if I just move my cursor over, it gives me a color picker, so I can just pick. And oh man, it's not working. That's really strange. Well, you know how things go in Mr. Brown's life. It's not unnormal for something to be broken. So I'm just gonna manually get a color that's somewhat close. Oh, this is bad. My whole computer's like spazzing out. I'm gonna try to get somewhere close. I don't feel like this is even close at all. Oh no, I think it's getting worse. Let's come up here. Let's go with a teal color ish. That's getting close to that other color. That does make it hard to see though, right? I think I'm just gonna cheat and go with white. Haha, that's mostly better. Let's hit OK. I'm also going to change the font size, so I'm going to increase it. There's some other settings you can adjust here. And I'm going to adjust the tracking a little, and I may adjust it from regular to bold. So here we go. Space Gordons, that's your first line. That's the name of the shoe. So we're advertising these wonderful, delightful Space Gordons. And the brand of this is Victory Goddess. So we're going to add another text layer. So I'm going to hit the T. I'm going to come underneath, giving myself enough space so I don't actually click on this. And I'm going to click one time. And I'm going to put by, lowercase, Victory Goddess. I probably spelled that right, but I can't see because it's off the screen. So I'm gonna triple click here, and I'm gonna shrink the size. Did I spell goddess right? That's probably right. It probably only has one D. Maybe it has two. Okay, somebody Google that and tell me if I spelled it right later. All right, so I'm gonna move this around. Wow, this is like the worst ad ever made. This looks terrible. But you know what? It's okay. So here we go. Space Gordons by Victory Goddess. And one more layer. one more text layer. So I'm going to click my text tool one more time. And I'm going to click here. And I'm going to type on sale now. 3 exclamation points. All right, here we go. And I'm going to make this larger. All right, so this is the content you have to have here. And how you arrange it is completely up to you. I want you to be creative. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm thinking just by looking at it. I had one idea in my head. It's not turning out the way I thought it would. And so I'm going to change things up. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to select my first 2 layers. I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm going to select the Space Gordons layer and the By Victory Goddess layer. And I'm going to drag this down here by the earth. And that makes it a little bit more readable. Is that a good spot for it? I don't know, but it looks a little more legible down there. I'm also going to go back to my text tool and I'm going to click in between sale and now. I'm going to hit my backspace and then I'm going to hit return. And it is going to put them on top of each other. I'm going to increase the leading a little bit. That's the space between the 2 lines. And I'm going to just select the word now, and I'm going to make it to where it and the exclamation points marks are the same size as the top line. This right here, I've got, mine says 92. It's kind of hard to see. It's really a little bitty, but I'm going to click it and hold it and drag it, and it's going to change my leading. And if you just want to click and add another layer, that's perfectly okay too. And this looks pretty good. One thing more that I want to do to this. I want to make the on sale now much bigger. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Well, I said I was going to. There we go. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag. And I think I might even rotate this. To do this, by the way, guys, I use my selection tool at the top, the very top plus sign with the little arrows on them. And I'm going to hit return or hit the check mark at the top. And this is our advertisement. So we took 3 different pictures. We took our space. We added the earth. We masked it out. We took our shoe. We masked it out by using the pen tool to make a selection. We added Space Gordon's layer by Victory Goddess, and then we added On Sale Now, and we tried to make it look kind of cool. I want you to do close to the exact same thing. You can feel free to move around the arrangement, the shoe, the planet Earth, however you'd like. Feel free to arrange the text how you would like, but make sure that it's legible and make sure that it just makes sense. When you're done, check this out. First off, if you don't get done before the class ends, come down, go to File, go to Save As, or click Command-Shift-S. That's the best way to do it. So Command-Shift-S, and I'm going to save this as a Photoshop file. So I actually have a place where I save my Photoshop files. So I'm going to call this Space Gordon. It's already there. I'm good. Make sure the format says Photoshop. And I'm going to click Save. There we go. If you are done, like you finished before class ended, and you're finished and you're ready to turn it in, you can go to File, Save As, and you can leave the name Space Gordon. We're going to change the format, however, to JPEG. I want you guys to submit this as a JPEG for me, and we're going to get those turned in so that we can, get those graded and stuff. Yeah, so just hit save. I lost my train of thought totally for 1 second there. Hit save. Make sure your quality is 12. Hit OK. Bam, there we go. You guys are done with this project. And this is kind of the culmination of selection and text and some of the other things we're going to be doing. We're going to get more into photoshopping some people the rest of this week and next week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, raise your hand, or if you're learning online or at home, email me at william.brown@terrellic.org, and I'll be glad to answer your questions for you. It's been a great time. Look forward to seeing you all in class. Bye, guys.